This is my Q&A for this week, Q&A episode number 5. First question comes from Coffee Ninja B8. Question says, I was watching the Mr. Perfect DVD, and it mentions he is one of those guys that pulls a lot of ribs backstage. Some is going as far as taking a shit in a training toilet for Road Warrior Hawk's, possibly Road Warrior Animal's son. My question is, what do you think of wrestlers pulling ribs on each other, and what do you consider it taken too far? And also, what are some of your favorite ribs that wrestlers have told the fans about? As far as wrestlers pulling ribs, I definitely think it's one of the funniest things in the wrestling business. It's one of those things that wrestlers do pretty much to pass time, and since they're away from their family so often, it's one of those things they do for laughter on the road, so definitely don't mind wrestlers doing it. There are some wrestlers that do take it a little too far, and as far as what I consider taking it too far, is some of the, I don't know, it's just some of the internet speculation. Possibly it's true, possibly it's false, but if it's true, it's definitely taking it too far, and that's one wrestler in JBL, and pretty much he is one of Vince McMahon's boys, so pretty much he can do whatever he wants, and some of the stories go as far as saying that he thinks a lot of the young guys, definitely messes with them a lot, and some is going as far as when the young guys are in the shower, they get out of the shower. Heard sometimes he goes as far as like tying them up to a chair and have a broomstick in his hand and acts like he's gonna stick the broomstick in their ass, which that's going a little too far. I can take joking stuff, but that is just going way too far. That's, no pun intended, and not trying to make fun of TNA, but that's definitely crossing the line right there. That's going way too far. Now, as far as some of the funny ones that fans have found out about and wrestlers telling us, definitely one of the guys that always did ribs, which was always funny every time. There's so many of them that it's hard to just say what your favorite one is that you heard. So pretty much anything you hear that Owen Hart has done as far as ribs. Davey Boy Smith, he was another guy. Him and Owen Hart, basically, a lot of times, which is one of the funnier ones I've heard. I think Jim Cornette talked about this. That Davey Boy Smith and Owen Hart, they always back in the day used to rib Jerry the King Lawler a lot. And one time they went as far as taking the King's crown, and I don't know if it was Davey Boy Smith or Owen Hart, but one of them took a shit in the crown. Then I think later on the King noticed it, and actually I think he went as far as he didn't notice it was shit in his crown, so he lifted it up, put it on his head. Now, some might say that's going too far, but hey, it was Owen Hart, Davey Boy Smith, and anything Owen does is pretty much funny all the time anyway. And another one that's funny, which is one that a former Ring of Honor star, now WWE star, and CM Punk did, where he pretty much he's got Homicide's voice down pat, where he can do his voice completely. If you didn't have videos of CM Punk and Homicide, you just had the audio, you would swear that CM Punk's impression of Homicide's voice, you think it would be Homicide. And one time or another, back in the day when All Japan Ring of Honor was about to have some talent from All Japan come into Ring of Honor, Homicide and Kojima were planning to do something big for the show, so CM Punk had to fuck with Gabe Sapolsky, so he prank phone called Gabe Sapolsky and Homicide's voice, and basically kept fucking with him, said he couldn't make the show, he had to do another gig, and Gabe was flipping out. Anyone that's seen the Samoa Joe and CM Punk straight shooting series, definitely, that's one of the funniest stories that I've heard that CM Punk has ever done. He's one of those guys that tells great stories about, stuff that happened on the road, and definitely that's one funny story right there. Next question is from Irish Shot 2, and who do you think the Undertaker will take on at WrestleMania 25? Now, what I would like to see him, who I like to see him take on, and pretty much I think a lot of people want to see him take on, is Shawn Michaels, and I think there is a good shot at that possibly being the WrestleMania 25 match between those two, and a promotional SmackDown versus Raw match. Possibly go the route that they did with Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels at 21, where they have both of them go back and forth on the brands to build up the match. But the one thing is, since both of them are from Texas, it's going to be hard for either one to play a heel. So pretty much it's just going to be face versus face if they do it. But another rumored match is Triple H versus Undertaker, which hopefully it doesn't happen because it's already happened at WrestleMania. I think it will be a good match, but I'm afraid that if that match happens, it wouldn't shock me if Triple H uses his political stroke to be this one to say, hey, I was the only person to ever defeat Undertaker at WrestleMania, ended his long streak that he's had, and I hope that doesn't happen. One way or another, they'll probably do Undertaker and Shawn. That's pretty much what I'm guessing they'll do. Next question is from glulbz, and he has three questions pertaining to TNA. First one dealing with what do I think of TNA's growing gimmick matches, which basically means what do I think of their amount of gimmick matches they do. And I would say within recent months they've been doing a little better with it. There are still some times where they go a little too far and do a little too much gimmick-fied stuff, especially I think it was an Impact a few weeks ago or a month ago where every single match on that Impact was a gimmick match, which is completely idiotic. I don't mind them doing, the whole all cage matches at Lockdown, because I think it's an innovative thing, and I think it's actually worked out for the better. It's one of those pay-per-views that sometimes are good, like I think 04, 05, and not 04, but 05 and 06. Those are both good. 07, 08 was pretty much lackluster. It's one of those events that if they book it right, it can be good with all cage matches, even though a lot of people will say it's over gimmicky. Next question is, what do I think are some of the best and worst TNA gimmick matches? Definitely one of the best ones is the Ultimate X. Is one of those innovative matches that TNA has made originally by themselves. Even though I think before it was in a Puerto Rican company down in Puerto Rico, I think IWC or something, but TNA did it, and they definitely, that's one of their things they invented that I think they did a good job with. King of the Mountain, I know some people are skeptical on it. I think it's actually good. They just have to have the right stars in there, and they have to book it in a way where it doesn't look so obvious of who's going to win it. Then, some other ones I like, street fights, cage matches, ladder matches, as long as they have meaning to it. Just don't do one of those gimmick matches for the sake of doing it. You have to have at least a storyline or something behind it, a blood feud or something to make a match go to that level. What are some of the worst gimmick matches? Like the blindfold match they did at Lockdown one year, the electrified steel cage, any of the reverse battle royals. A lot of bad gimmick matches TNA has done over the years. Pretty much as far as stuff they try. A lot of the times you think it might work, it might be something innovative, but a lot of times it completely flops as far as the ones that have been bad. You thought it might work, but a lot of times you were pretty much going into it to say this is going to be complete shit. Just like Elevation X, they try to, do like their version of a scaffold match, and I don't think any time they've ever done it has actually been good. And what wrestlers in TNA would I like to see TNA get rid of their gimmicks? Is pretty much pertaining to the X Division wrestlers, and definitely I would say get rid of the Curry Man gimmick and get Christopher Daniels out of there. Let Christopher Daniels be himself, and if they book him right, he could be a top, legit, credible main event wrestler, which they completely screwed over when they had Sting and him have a feud back in the day, and Sting pretty much squashed him in an 8-minute match on pay-per-view, and that's pretty much probably the last thing you saw that Christopher Daniels looked like he possibly could have got to the main event. They completely failed there. Jay Lethal doing the Macho Man gimmick. I would say it's starting to run its course. I say you possibly could, let it go all the way till mid-2009, but I'll definitely say by the summer you would have to get rid of it. The whole Prince Justice Brotherhood, which I already said, Curry Man, but Shark Boy doing the Austin stuff, Eric Young doing Super Eric, any of those goofy gimmicks they need to get rid of. Little PD Pump, I feel they'll probably get rid of that very soon, because if they don't, it will look idiotic, with this whole young guys versus veterans storyline that they got going. It'll look stupid that a young guy is paying homage to the old guys, and that's who they're going against, and that will look completely idiotic in the storyline. And the next question is from Vogras, and he asked with the 3 TNA main gimmick matches, which are the Ultimate X, King of the Mountain, and the Pterodome match, are now known as the Steel Asylum. If I could, what wrestlers from the WWE, from the 3 WWE brands, would I put in these matches? As far as the King of the Mountain, obviously you have to put some big names in there, because that's pretty much always for the heavyweight title. So people I would put in there are John Cena, Edge, Jeff Hardy, Undertaker, and Shawn Michaels. I think all of them would coexist well in a match like that and mesh well. Could be an excellent match. And in the Ultimate X, I'll put CM Punk, Matt Sydal, aka Evan Bourne, Rey Mysterio, and Randy Orton. And as far as the Terradome match, I'm not a fan of this match, not even a fan of when AAA does it. I think it's one of those gimmick matches where it looks like it could be good, but it never turns out to be that good of a match. So, but if I would have to do it and put, wrestlers in there, and yours you put 7, so I'll put 7 in mine. So I'll put Shelton Benjamin, Finlay, Umaga, Matt Hardy, John Morrison, The Miz, and Ron Killings in there. And another thing asked is, do I think any of these matches with the WWE stars, which one do I think will pull it off better, WWE or TNA? Do I think WWE could pull it off better? Possibly King of the Mountain, no matter, pretty much King of the Mountain or any of these matches pretty much depends on the stars you put in there. If you put in stars you think that are going to work in it, either company could deliver in that type of gimmick match. I'm not going to say WWE could do better. The Ultimate X is one that I think, no matter what, even though none of these matches would happen, WWE, just hypothetically, if they did, the Ultimate X wouldn't be as good due to the fact of WWE wouldn't allow a lot of their wrestlers to, do a lot of high-flying maneuvers and make it like a fast-paced match. I don't think so. That wouldn't work in that case. Next question is from Instant Classic G1. What do you think will happen with Gabe Sapolsky being gone from Ring of Honor? Is this good for the creative team? I know Gabe Sapolsky has had some heat with talents such as Low Key. I've already gave my complete thoughts on this, but as far as this, I think it's a good creative decision for Ring of Honor. Gabe Sapolsky was holding them back for getting a TV deal, and I see them sometime in the summer or fall of 2009 getting a TV deal with some type of network, possibly the G4 network and Versus network, which they already have had talks with. And as far as this new direction, I think it's going to work out. I know some people are already bitching about the 20 count and some DQs, countouts, and non-finishes on the shows from this past weekend, but I necessarily don't have a problem with it. I don't have no problem with the count-out thing, because pretty much every company has a count out. WWE and TNA, they have a 10 count to the floor. Ring of Honor has a 20 count. So it's not going to be like a lot of slow pace like people think it might be. You'll still be able to see, stuff like you would normally see in Ring of Honor. As far as non-finishing DQs, I think that's just one thing Ring of Honor will have to do, because storyline, if it makes sense and it's good for storyline development, I don't have no problem with it. If it's like TNA and it's a DQ for the sake of a DQ, then it's idiotic. And as far as now with Gabe Sapolsky being gone, possibly, a star like Loki, like you said, possibly could look to see him back in Ring of Honor. And next question is from the same person. And what do you think of the Blue Demon becoming the NWA World Heavyweight Champion? Definitely think it's interesting. The first ever Mexican luchador max wrestler ever holding the NWA Heavyweight title. And pretty much this is a business decision from the NWA, basically, because they do a lot of tours down in the Texas area, New Mexico, Nevada, and Mexico, and pretty much a Mexican masked luchador wrestler holding on to the heavyweight title. Even though they draw good in those areas, having a Mexican as world champion will even draw better, and your attendance will be higher. So pretty much this is done for a business purpose, and it's something interesting to see what they would do with it. I wish at some point or another, NWA will get a TV deal on all the networks, not just on the Dish TV, because I know they're on that one network on there, but hopefully at some point or another, maybe they can get on Comcast, or at least get on some syndication deal, because I definitely would like to see them on a more frequent basis, because it does look like some stuff they do is good. Now the next question is from Phenom WWE. He asks, when do I think Ring of Honor will get on TV? Pretty much already answered that. Next question is another one from Instant Classic G1, and he asked, do you think that the Brian Kendricks gimmick is somewhat of a ripoff of the Austin Starr gimmick? Not that there's anything wrong with that. Definitely I can see why you say there's similarities, but I wouldn't say it's really a ripoff of the Austin Starr character, but I definitely, like I said, I can understand where you're coming from in that. Next question is from King Andy 1992, and what do you think? What are your personal thoughts of the Age of the Fall? Do you think it's still does it still interest you, or is it played out? And secondly, Pepsi or Coke? And definitely the first thing, as far as the Age of the Fall, I definitely think it's still interesting. As far as the whole what they're going to do with Necro Butcher and Brody Lee being in there, you probably see a good feud between Brody Lee and Necro Butcher. Delirious being involved in it, I'm definitely excited about that. That's really going to help out Delirious's character, because I think before he joined this group, his character was pretty much stale for a year, so this is going to be a good new dimension to his character, and I think there's going to be some interesting stuff. Possibly, you know, a face turn at some point or another, which I think they'll probably do at some point or another, but they'll tease it for a little bit with Tyler Black. But like I said, they'll tease it for a little bit. I'm still interested in, as far as Pepsi or Coke, definitely I would go with Pepsi. And next question is from Cool Prior 24. I was wondering this ever since CM Punk lost the World Heavyweight title. He hasn't been a top contender. Do you think teaming up with Kofi Kingston and being tag champs is the right thing in the right spot for him in WWE, or do you think WWE should give him a top contender title shot again and put him back in the main event? I definitely think him teaming up with Kofi Kingston's okay for now. I've said this before that I think this is going to lead to something better with him and Randy Orton, which you already seeing him and Randy Orton feuding already, and they're having a match this coming Monday on Raw. I think it's going to be another match that they'll have that will probably end in a non-finish or something, but still be interesting to see what they do. Hopefully they, you know, build it up good, and I can see that being, you know, either a Royal Rumble match or not a Rumble match, but definitely I can see that possibly being a WrestleMania match. Definitely if it's built up right and it makes it feel like it's a big match, definitely would love to see that at WrestleMania. And these two, I think, you know, if given time, they can put on an excellent match. And next question is from Doom Guide 2000. Which title reign was better, CM Punk's or Samoa Joe's? Now, both of these title reigns were pretty lackluster. CM Punk's was even more lackluster than Samoa Joe's. You know, pretty much all he accomplished was defeating JBL at SummerSlam. So I would go with Samoa Joe's title, meaning a little more, but not too much more. He did accomplish a little. He finally defeated, you know, Kurt Angle for the heavyweight title, you know, which should have probably been done a year before, but nonetheless, he finally won it. He was one of the first people to go in King of the Mountain as world champion and walk out in his feud with Booker T. He pretty much, you know, annihilated him and, you know, won it completely. So, you know, I would say with that, but it still was a little weak title run, even though he held it for 6 months. You wouldn't think he did for the stuff he did in it, but just because of the time he held it and, you know, some more accomplishments than he had over CM Punk, I would put Samoa Joe's title reign being better. Next question is, what do you think of JBL's WWE title reign back in 2004? And do you think he is the worst WWE champion, even though some might disagree? I hate it. I don't like the way he got the title back then because he had no credibility. As far as him being the worst champion in WWE, I definitely wouldn't say that. He's one of the worst, but not the worst. The worst WWE champion, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people will agree. Definitely Khali. As far as, you know, worst world champions, you know, someone like Vince Russo holding the WCW title or David Arquette. Those are, you know, worse than, you know, anything JBL's ever done. I will say he's good on the mic. Definitely didn't like the idea of him having such a long title reign because he almost had it for a year. I thought if they would have done something with JBL and Cena back in 21 with Cena and him being the main event, I think it would have actually had a better closure for him losing the world title to Cena. I think it would have elevated Cena as a bigger star earlier than what it did. And I think that match would have had more, you know, more reasoning and prestige behind it than what it did. It pretty much felt like a match where you already knew what was going to happen anyway back then. Then the next question is from Rick Model Martel. If WWE were ever to bring back the Brawl for All with which 8 legitimate badasses in WWE today would take on each other, who would you like to see get in the ring? Off the top of my head, one of the choices would be Umaga. This is nothing I would like to see brought back at all, and especially nowadays, say if they would do something like this, which I doubt they would, but say if you would do the Brawl for All concept, it would be completely different. Since boxing was popular back then, they'll use MMA today, but like I said, nothing like this will ever happen. And with the choices, the first 5 were pretty easy to pick, then the other 3 I pretty much put in here to get it up to the number 8. Undertaker's 1, JBL, Batista, CM Punk, Umaga, Big Show, Festus, and Mark Henry. And you see just with the last 3 what I meant when I said when I just wanted to fill it up to 8. Nothing I would like to see, but I know some people might want to see it, but I don't think it would work. I think back in the day it was a complete joke, and it probably even look more like a complete joke now. And the next question is from the same person, and I'm going to pretty much read this verbatim. This is what he's saying. It's talking about the WWE releases. Now I have to get this off my chest. I'm so fucking pissed off with WWE for releasing Elijah Burke and Kenny Dykstra, not to mention Paul London. What the fuck were they thinking? Don't they know shit about talent? I haven't been this pissed off with WWE for a long time. I know this person is a big WWE fan. Fucking idiots. In my opinion, Elijah Burke had all the tools in his locker to be a top star and is one of my favorite wrestlers. Could you or anyone explain to me what the fuck is going on here, and what is your take on this? Definitely, as far as these talents, like I said, Kenny Dykstra is no star I would miss. Good riddance to Chuck Palumbo. It's sad to see guys lose their jobs, but nonetheless, I'm not going to, cry over them not being with WWE anymore. As far as Elijah Burke pretty much the reason why he didn't get the push or ever do anything that much on the ECW brand or get any further than what he did was pretty much he was stamped as one of Paul Heyman's guys and one of Dave Lagana's guys. And after Paul Heyman left the ECW brand and left WWE, and after Dave Lagana was fired from the writing staff, pretty much that left him with nothing to do, and none of the writers, for some reason or another, didn't want to push him. Don't understand with Elijah, because like you said, I do think he was a good talent. He was good in the ring, and he was good on the mic. Definitely one guy I would like to see in TNA, just like Paul London. Paul London pretty much got fired due to association. He was associated, and he dated Ashley Massaro, and pretty much, even though she stated that she left WWE and got her release requested, pretty much WWE is going to can her at some point or another due to the fact of her being rumored to be in a call girl service. And not only that, WWE has said she had some drug problems as well. And for some reason or another, they think, with Paul London dating her, they think Paul London might have been on something. I don't know. Don't think we'll ever know the complete story why he was released. But definitely those are two guys I would like to see picked up by either TNA or Ring of Honor, especially Paul London and Ring of Honor. Now, the next question is from Ziera077. Moving forward, shouldn't Jay Lethal go for the TNA Championship instead of going for the X Division title? Also, if so, how would you book his title reign as TNA Champion? Definitely, I think at some point or another, it would be cool to see him go to the TNA title ranks. I definitely think, he could be credible as a World Heavyweight Champion, or at least a World Heavyweight Contender, at least. Don't necessarily know champion, but definitely a top contender. But if you would go the route of making him World Champion, I'm not a fan of the underdog champions at all, but some guy like Jay Lethal, I think no matter what, you kind of have to book him in the route of that. But book him in the route where he's a underdog, but don't make him look like he's not able to defeat anyone. Make it look like, each time it looks like he's going to lose, but somehow he comes out winning and he wins it fairly, no interference or anything like that, or no fluke. You just book him kind of as an underdog. Then the next question is from Dipset88. Who do you think is the best rapper and MC of all time, and who is your favorite rapper today in hip-hop, in your opinion? Definitely my favorite rapper of all time. I've mentioned this before. It's Rakim, definitely one of the best lyrical rappers of all time. As far as who's my favorite rapper today, easily Papoose. I'm hoping that at some point or another he finally gets that record deal and releases the Nasser Dreams. I know he had a deal with Jive. Pretty much they fucked him. But I think at this point or another, him and K-Slay are going around trying to get a record deal. So hopefully either later this year or early 2009, we finally get that album to come out, because I think whenever it comes out, that album's going to be a complete classic. That'll probably be one of the best hip-hop albums in a long time. But definitely, because he's one, just like I would say he's a modern-day Rakim. That's how good lyrically he is, I would say. Then the next question is from the same person. Do you think Survivor Series 2008 will deliver depending on the matches on the card? As far as the card right now, it looks like one of those pay-per-views that could either be decent or good. Nothing that's going to be great. I am looking forward to John Cena and Chris Jericho real bad. I'm expecting that to be an excellent match. I do expect Cena to win the title. If he doesn't win the title, expect some DQ finish. Rest of it, the triple threat with Triple H, Vladimir Kozlov, and Jeff Hardy. With Jeff Hardy and Triple H being in there, that might help it out. Thankfully, they're not doing Triple H and Vladimir Kozlov singles match, and hopefully Kozlov won't win the title. But definitely could be good. As far as the rest of the card, I know they got the Team JBL versus Team Shawn Michaels, which looks like it might be good, but doesn't look great. It looks like, a lot of the Survivor Series card looks like it's going to be thrown together pretty much, but hopefully it does deliver and it is good. Pretty much after this Monday and after the SmackDown taping on Tuesday, we'll pretty much know what every match is going to be. And especially, I know they're doing a casket match with Big Show and Undertaker, which with the casket match gimmick, they might actually have a okay match together. And the last question is from Kids Next Door 99. Who do you think will win the war between the Main Event Mafia and TNA Originals? Definitely, as far as the way the feud's going to end, obviously the TNA Originals will win the whole entire feud, but I see it's going to be one of those feuds that's going to last for a little while. I could see it lasting for at least 6 months, possibly all the way maybe until Bound for Glory next year. At some point or another, maybe Lockdown, which probably will be the perfect time to do it. Do a War Game style match. I know they got some rumored match to be at the Final Resolution pay-per-view where it's going to be the Main Event Mafia versus AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and two partners of their choice, which haven't been announced yet. And whoever wins that, if the Main Event Mafia wins, then keeps the title. If the Young Guys win, AJ Styles, for some reason or another, even though if he doesn't pin the person, becomes world champion, which seems like it's idiotic. So I don't think they'll go the route of having Sting lose the title then, but it'd be interesting to see what they do. Hopefully they don't. I want Sting to actually lose this title legit. Lose this title in a one-on-one match and lose it to AJ Styles fairly, because I definitely think that will be the person that they are going to have Sting lose the title to at some point or another. And that's it for this Q&A, and I hope you enjoyed. I know it's probably gone a little lengthy, but like I said, I hope you enjoyed. Peace.